Well, you have a certain number of NGOs that have been working with these sanctioned countries for many years. Cuba, for example, there's Pastors for Peace and others that are, and there are quite a few, let's say, interested parties in the U.S. who have relations with Venezuela, Bolivia, El Salvador, and so forth. Now, the United States, of course, will orchestrate a campaign against these countries, but these NGOs know better. They're not going to take their information or their cue from the U.S. government or from the mainstream media. They're going to continue to pursue what they believe to be in the interest of good relations with these countries and to benefit the people of these sanctioned countries. So that will continue. Now you have also, of course, the United States develops NGOs that I consider to be, let's say, fake NGOs. That is to say, the NGOs that survive on government subsidies and who do the work that the government wants and support those who are causing the problems in these countries. That obviously also will continue to be the case. But eventually, it's as we experienced in, I believe it was 2013, when there was a wave of let's say, pressure on the government, on the Congress especially, not to bomb Syria, not to go to war with Syria. And it worked. It actually worked. This kind of thing can happen, but...
Who were the main parts of this campaign and why, do you think?
They were the activist organizations. There was the Answer Coalition, the UNAC, United National Anti-War Coalition, and so forth. And those are some of the larger ones, but it was a wide range of
and it worked, do you think, because...
It worked because they recommended pressure on individual members of Congress. And there were members of Congress who were from conservative Republican districts who reported, they were saying, what can I do? The telephone calls are 100 to 1 against the war. So that caused Obama to be
rethink it.
Yeah.
So do you think that also the sanctions will affect the openness now from Syria towards Arab nations and other countries?
It works in two directions. I think the openness of other nations to Syria is helping to put pressure to relieve the sanctions as well. So, and especially if, as I think is possible, if the United States decides to remove its troops from Syria, especially at the time that the Ukrainian war, I guess the U.S. would say, winds down. In other words, when it is clear that the U.S. and NATO are not going to win the Ukraine war, then at that time the pressure is to move the troops from the entire European and West Asian theater over to the Far Eastern theater. And
against China.
Yes, and to make at that point, if the troops disappear from Syria and Syria can use its oil fields again and export wheat and grains elsewhere, then the bite of the sanctions will be much less than it is now, if any at all. And so the United States might just abandon the sanctions in that case, or make them relatively meaningless. We'll see. This is a hope, but I think it's a new possibility that is opening.